Welcome. Pretty sure we are live now. Wait for a few people to join. Come say hi. Right off the get-go, my name is Richard. I am a local realtor here in Mission, serving the Fraser Valley. And today we're just talking about all things real estate. Got Kevin Kunst. Hey, buddy, how's it going, man? Say something in the chat. Like I said, we're going to be talking all things market update. We're going to go through some multifamily living situations when it comes to house hacking, just either parents, helping the kids buy something, or two people going together and buying a property together. We're going to be doing some fun stuff. And hey, Kevin. Nice to see you, man. Nice to see you. It's been a while. It's been a while, man. It's been a while. So, yeah. So real quick, let me just show you my screen here. So I've been working on some stats here as far as all the different neighborhoods. We're also going to be going over, again, market data within each of these areas. Because I know the biggest thing is like you get a market stats update. Mission went up 5%. Well, what area went up 5%? What happened? And so the whole goal here is to break down each of these areas. And so if you're thinking about moving in one of these areas, I'm going to be bringing, local stats for each of these areas, homes that have been selling. And then the goal, it's been taking me a bit of time. The goal is to do Abbotsford as well, because our office here, I work out of Abbotsford admission. So I'm going to be doing this exact same thing. And then lastly, where's my page? There's too many pages. There's too many pages. No, I'll have to load it up. But lastly, we're going to be talking about some house hacking stuff. The states have 25, 30-year mortgages at fixed rate. Why can't Canada do the same? It's great questions, man. Great questions. Well, basically, Canada's a little different, and their legislation is different. And so maybe one day we can get to the 25, 30-year mortgages. But at this point, we do not. So it's unfortunate. It's unfortunate, buddy. Or you can move down to the States. Maybe move down to the States. Maybe that's an option. So maybe, buddy. Maybe. Is there pro to have fixed? Is there pro? Is there pro to have? Is there pros to having a fixed mortgage at 25 years compared to 20? Well, in my mind, of course there is, man. If you can lock in at a rate, 2% for the next 30 years, like that's just, in my mind, it's just certainty. It's like, I know exactly what my payment's going to be for the next 25 years until I pay this house off. It's huge. Hey, Chris, good morning, buddy. Nice to see you. Nice to see you. Nice to see you, my friend. No, so like I mentioned, this is going to be a weekly stream where I tune in Saturday morning, talking about the market that's happening specifically in Mission and specifically in Abbotsford. This page here that I got loaded up right now for people who are just joining, is all the neighborhoods, because again, what happens is a generic market update, you get, the entirety of Mission, what's happening in Mission. And that's not really specific because, again, a home that's here in the Mission core might appreciate or depreciate more than something in Silver Hill or more than something in Stave Falls. And so the whole goal is to bring in more localized data so that, depending where you live, whether it's Abbotsford or Mission, you'll know the data. And so let's, I think now's a good time to kind of get into some data here. So I'm going to adjust my screen here. Let's just use this one. And so I haven't got to it yet, but this is an Excel spreadsheet. Let me just quickly explain this one here. Excel spreadsheet that I've made, basically breaking down all the data of this is West Heights. So this is a neighborhood. That's actually this neighborhood right here. And just for those of you who don't know, these are all neighborhoods in Mission. Chris Carr, I think the best eyeing opportunity in Mission is right now. Heck yeah, buddy. I might be a little biased because I live here, but like I was saying, these are all neighborhoods within Mission. And so this spreadsheet here breaks down the data. So every month, we're basically going to be filling out this data here. So in March, 2 homes sold in West Heights. February, there was 5 homes. And then January, there was 6 homes. And so a lot of these numbers, I know it's over the top and but I'm going to break it down here. I just didn't quite get to it this time. Ran out of time before the live stream. So, but basically, I'm going to be breaking down each. Let's just see here. So again, West Heights. So let's do. Oh, I forgot I did that. Yeah, so for those of you who don't know where West Heights is, this is where it is. This is Mission here. And so we're going to be talking specifically about this neighborhood right now. And so last year, I found it interesting, got the median price and average price. So last year, there was a total of 94 sales in this area. The average price was the median price was $950,000. And then basically, you could expect to get a 2% or a 3% haircut on the price. And so $1 million, it's 30 grand, 20 grand. And then January, again, once we factor in all the January home sales, median price actually went down 2% last month or in January. And then February, again, it actually year-to-date change was actually 1.1%. And so the data obviously changes each month and changes the basically the median and average prices here. So like I said, I'm going to be simplifying this so it's not so a whole bunch of numbers that a lot of times you don't necessarily need. But basically we just put in the original price, list price, sale price, BC assessment. I've been thinking about doing that because I know a lot of people, they get so fixated on the BC assessment, but it's just the government's way of determining how much tax you're going to be paying to the city. And so I wanted to put it in there because just to kind of give an idea of how much the BC assessment versus sale price, because again, it's often not even close. Because again, BC assessment's taking in July and then you don't get it until January. And so the peak of most markets happen during the summer, and then the lows will happen the most in the winter months. And so it's not really a true accurate representation of someone's home price, depending on what time of the year you're reading it. But I thought it'd be an interesting stat to have the sale price versus the assessed price. And so if you would find that interesting, by all means, let me know. But yeah, so basically the average median home price right now is 95%, at least in March. But then if you look at the year to date, it's actually 0.6 less, which is, so right now, if you're looking at buying a home in West Heights, you can expect to get about 2%, maybe a little bit more off. So that's West Heights. Now let's move on to Cedar Valley. So if you live in Cedar Valley, for those who don't know where it is, it's right here. I'll zoom out again. Right in the middle. Well, not, yeah, right in the middle. So these tend to be a lot newer homes. Actually, there's quite a bit of development going on right here. A lot of townhomes are going in. This is all getting rezoned essentially. So if you live in that area, you'll know all too well. But again, last year, the median sale price was $1,192,000. So quite a big difference between, West Heights here versus Cedar Valley. And then actually one thing I forgot to mention was the days on market. So that's another key thing that people like to know is, if I were to sell my house today, how many days would it take to sell my home? And so last year, days on market, the average days on market was 33 days and the median was, just about 19. And there was 48 sales last year in that area. And so if you were to sell your home today, expect about a month. But let's just get back over here. January, there was basically 5 sales. February, there was 2. March, there was actually a bunch here. And so looking at, again, we're looking at that 2%, list to sales price. So what the home lists for, and that's the current list date or the current list price versus the sale price. And so there's original sale price, which is a lot of times people list their home for sale, hoping to get top dollar or hoping to get maybe more than what the market can bear. And then they typically adjust the price afterwards down the road. Not all the times, but sometimes, right? So you can see here, these are all the same. This one actually here got a $25,000 reduction, and then they got $10,000 off of that. And so it's looking about the same here. Again, 98%, list to sales price. So again, if you're looking for a home in Cedar Valley, you can expect about a 98% or 2% average as far as reduction off the list price. And if you're looking at selling your home in there, I gotta fix this here, but days on market last month was 19 days. So 20 days, you can expect your home to sell. But then of course you get some outliers that are like quite a bit higher. So that's Cedar Valley. We'll fix this up for next time. So this is the Mission Court, another neighborhood. And now, truthfully, this Mission Court is actually this whole area. If you look at the Mission city map. But I split it up because there's tending to be there's older homes throughout this area, but this is a different neighborhood than this neighborhood. And so last year, again, we're talking about last year's stats. Sale price, or medium sale price was $980,000. You can expect, anywhere from a 3 to 2% reduction off of the price. So again, when you're thinking about putting an offer on something, looking about 2%, seems to be the average or the medium. And then days on market, let's get rid of that one. That one doesn't apply. Days on market in the Mission Core, we're looking at about 36 days on average, 21 days for median. And then January, we've seen a whole bunch of home sales. Right, year to date, actually, home sales looked like in January, they dropped down 3.4%. And then in February, looks like a bunch more expensive homes sold. So it kind of brought the year to date average up. And again, what I will say is this data is it's totally dependent on what homes actually sell this month. And so over the months, you'll see kind of the graph go like this because, 1 month, a whole bunch of lower priced homes sold, and the next month, a whole bunch of higher priced homes sold. And so month to month, you can see what sells and what's happening. But over the year, you kind of get a better idea of what the graphs are doing. And so back in March, so it looks like right now in the Mission Core, we've had about a year to date 5% increase compared to last year as a whole. And which is kind of common when you look at the overarching themes that happen within Mission as a whole, or the Fraser Valley really as a whole, is prices tend to like, actually, I'll just show you a graph here. I think you'll find this interesting. If I can just find it. Stats. Just so that you get an idea what I'm talking about here, because now I need to like show you my password here. Oh, Fawn should have this signed in. So if we just span it out 5 years, and this is for the entire Fraser Valley. And so, like I was mentioning earlier, is that things tend to increase in the spring. We got January, right? December is a low, so January is low. So now we're kind of on this upward swing, right? And if you get more specifically to Mission, again, this is where we're looking at. You know, so January, December, right? So we're kind of more of a, excuse me. So right now when I'm looking at the graphs here and saying a 5% increase, it makes sense. Okay, let's move on to the next neighborhood. And so if you are just joining, if you are watching right now we're breaking down all of the markets all the neighborhoods within Mission. Again, because typically all you get is like a city-wide market stat, where it's like, you know, the month of March, Mission listings went up 3%. Well, you know, depending if you're in the Mission core or if you're out in Stave Falls or Steelhead or even Ferndale, that could vary quite a bit. And so the goal here is to bring you localized data depending where you live. So this is Hatzic neighborhood. So last year we're talking, last year the median home price in Hatzic was $981,000. Again, we're looking at that list of sale price here, or list original price, anywhere from 5 to 2% off the price. So days on market, 46 days on market last year. The average medium was 30 days. So just looking in January, we had 4 homes sold, right? We're looking at about that 5% off of, anywhere from 5 to 1% off the list price. So again, if that's $1 million, you're looking at anywhere from 10 to 15 grand, or sorry, 10 to 50 grand. And then kind of days on market. And I put the cumulative, again, this is more information for those who are just curious, is that this home was on the market for 223 days. But since the last price reduction, it was on only 52 days. And so you can even see this one here, more than a year basically. And then they did a price reduction and then it sold the next day. So let's see where they had it at. Yeah, they dropped it like quite a bit. Was that 34 plus 15? 49 almost, basically 50K. And then they got an offer. Yeah. Oh, that doesn't really make sense. More importantly, what's happening right now? So actually no sales in March right now. February, we had 2 sales. So 3% both off the list price. So if you're looking in Hatzic, you can expect about a 3 to 5% reduction in price. And days on market, last month was 20, previous month was 37. And the average seems to be again around 29 to 40, 48. Chris Carr, buddy, he said, where you see the Mission market going? Well, man, we got lots of things happening here in Mission, lots of building happening. I think if you look at like the Fraser Valley as a whole, I still think it's a reasonable market. But it's just so hard. Like there's a lot going on. There's a lot of uncertainty happening. And so I truly think the market's going to be pretty like flatlined is what I would say. Even if you look at the data here, right, where this is Mission, this is a graph of the price. And so, right, we have June, July, like we're basically still the same pricing of 2023 for those who are interested, right? Obviously this is COVID, so that you can't really count that. But if you look at the last couple of years, things have just been kind of staying steady. And with all of the uncertainty that's happening, as we all see it in the news, I imagine it's going to be something similar. But again, we have an election now coming, so truthfully, if anyone who says they know what's going to happen, they're lying to you, because they just don't. All we have is previous data and, insider expertise of what we think will happen. So my guess is it's going to be pretty stagnant year for Mission, and most likely Fraser Valley as a whole. But I could be wrong. And so ask me that question in a couple months, Chris, and we'll see where it's going. But moving on. Ferndale, for those of you who live in Ferndale or looking at moving to Ferndale, bigger properties. It's quite nice back there. If you've ever been to Bear Mountain, some great hiking, some great mountain biking there. Check it out. But Ferndale, if you're looking at buying in Ferndale, last year, the median home price was $1,567,000, so quite a bit more than the other areas. But typically, because these are bigger properties we're talking about, you're looking at older houses on like 5 to 10 acre parcels of land, and again, still in that kind of 3 to 2% reduction of price. So if you're looking to buy in Ferndale, you can expect at least last year the stats were saying it was 3% less. And days on market, a little bit more longer days on market to be expected with these bigger properties. 76 days on market. That was the average. We had 21 sales. And so let's fast forward to what's happening this year. Well, we had one sale and one sale in March and one sale in January. $1,500,000, sorry. I think this one sold pretty quick. No. 146 days on market. 94% list to sale price, so you can get a bigger haircut there, or a bigger price reduction. So typically when money gets tight and the overall uncertainty happens, properties that are more expensive tend to fall a little less as far as percentage basis, because there's less people that can afford that stuff. So moving on. Let's see here. Israel bench. So it's a nice little pocket. I hate it when it does that. Sports fields. It's actually some Archer Green here. A whole bunch of townhomes. It's pretty nice. What is it now? Wow, I'm drawing a blank. Nelson Grove. A whole bunch of new detached homes. Sorry, words are hard this morning. And for those of you haven't heard or haven't been up to date here, this whole area is getting rezoned. They're going to be putting, they got some big visions for that area. A whole bunch of more homes. They want to put in, I don't know if there's a shopping center. I have to look back at the meeting notes from City Council, but lots of stuff's going to be going on here. It's all getting rezoned. There's going to be some commercial, but a whole bunch of residential is happening here. So expect this area, at least this area for now, to get a lot busier. But there's some pretty high-end homes, all on quarter, half acre lots here. Got a nice little football field. So these tend to be like higher end luxury homes. So if that's kind of what you're looking for, this place is definitely for you. You can actually see, we're looking at how expensive each area is. We're almost at $2 million here of last year, right? Only 6 sales in this area. 102 days on market again when we get to the higher price points. Not always, but typically there's less buyers in the market at that price point. So there's no sales here in January, one sale in February for a million, almost 800,000. It's 9 days on market, so it's pretty quick. But no sales in March. So what else can I say about this area? I like it. Moving on to Silverdale, Silver Hill, and Keystone. So I bunched these up together because it's kind of more or less all the same types of stuff. But Keystone, as far as neighborhood specific, it's this area here. Silverdale over here, and then Silver Hill over here. So like I said, development's happening here. I expect, I don't know, there's going to be a lot more houses there. So keep that in mind if you're thinking of moving to this area. So last year, 2024 medium home price, $1,240,000. Again, we're around that 5 to 2% price reduction off the list. Days on market, 60, 30. So one home sold, and it's actually like this home, I know exactly where that is. It's in this area here. So brand new, not brand, 2 years old, I think it is, Nelson Grove. Basically, I think they have suites downstairs in them too, depending on what floor plan you get. But 30 days on market. What else? February, we had 2 homes sold, 1.4, 1.1. Right, this one's been on the deal for a long time. Holy, 500 days. That's a long time to have your house on the market for. I think at some point you just take it off. 92% reduction, which makes sense. It's probably what happened. They were asking the world, and just the market wasn't there, and so. And then March, no sales in this area for March. We got a couple days left, so next week we'll have a true, accurate representation of what's going on here. And again, for anyone who's just joining in, local realtor, my name is Richard, here in Mission, going over the neighborhood stats, not so much the city stats, because again, you can find that pretty much anywhere, but the neighborhood stats. So depending where you live, talking about what's happening in your neighborhood, and if you're looking at buying in an area, what to expect as far as prices go. And so it's Stave Falls, it's a beautiful area. So moving on to Stave Falls. So again, these are bigger properties, mostly older homes, but obviously as the years go by, people put new homes on them. So last year, there was a median price of $1,392,000. Lists to sale price 97%, so you're looking at about a 3% reduction. Days on market is a little bit less, about a month. The median was 28 days. And so those of you who don't, I was just kind of thinking about this now. Average is literally, you take all of the numbers. So you have 10 sales in that, or you had 24 sales that year. Take all 24 sales, you add them all up, and then you divide by 24, and that gives you the number. So in this case, it was 35. But the medium, or the medium version of this is they take all of the numbers, and they, from days on market, let's say 1 day to 500 days, they take the middle number. And so it's more of a, I'd say, accurate representation, because then you can have these outliers and outliers meaning just like these anomalies where someone's house is on the market for 400 days, and that can skew the average data. And so if you have for instance, like you have a home in here in Stave Falls that sells for 20 million because it's like a super mansion. Well, the average, it would pull the whole average up So then the data would reflect that, oh, all the homes are now, let's say the average, well, let's just look here. The average is the average is 1.5, and then you have a $20 million home that sells in there. You essentially are going to affect the average and pull it up. So now the stats are going to be somewhat false because that's not a true representation of what's actually happening. It was just a one-off. And so the medium kind of protects you against that, because you could have that $20 million home that's sold, but the medium, it takes all of the 24 homes that sold and it picks the one in the middle. And then that's the medium price for those wondering. Moving on here. So January had one sale. Must have sold. Interesting. Sold for more. It'd be interesting to look at what happened there, because it says it sold for 11% more than what they were wanting. February we had one, 92%, 8% off the March, no data. So anyways, the best data we have is basically last year, because there's not too much data happening here. So that's Stave Falls. And then the last one I wanted to talk about, Steelhead. If you've ever been back here, some great hikes back here. There's a couple lookouts. There's a lookout right here. That's quite nice. And then, oh, sorry. Forgot to look at my other chat. Zunair, how's it going? It's probably, I got like too many chats open right now. It's ridiculous. Zunair, Surrey, how's Surrey Central Condo Market looking? I wonder if I could highlight that. Yeah, there we go. That's a cool feature. The Surrey market, man, they're getting beat up out there. Let's be honest. There's a lot of listings out there, and it's just, this one's for you, buddy. Surrey apartments, new listings. What am I doing here? Apartments, Surrey, sales. Well, we don't really have March data yet, so March is going to be over here, but a bunch more sales happening. Months of supply, sales to active ratio. Looks like you're getting some more activity out there. Sales are up. Prices are up. But yeah, Surrey's a tough one, man. There's a lot of condos out there for sale. So you really do need to be like the best one out there, or you can try, like, one option is lower it to a point where it's the most attractive one on the market, or you wait and hope that this natural curve of things, condo's a little bit more volatile, right? But you look at the natural curve where like these low points. So the hope that in the springtime comes, prices will come up, but that typically means more listings are going to come up as well. But yeah, feel free to send me a message there, Zunair. We can chat more about that specifically. But like I was saying, hiking, Mission, some great hikes back here. Because there's a lookout there, it's nice. There's a lookout here, that's nice. Yeah, Mission's great. But back to Steelhead here. Last neighborhood I want to talk about in Mission, and then we'll get into some multifamily, which I'm more excited about to get into. So before we get into that, let's just finish up Steelhead here as far as the average and medium price. So last year, medium home price was $1,330,000. Again, we're talking bigger properties, typically a little bit more acreage. It's a little farther out in the back of Mission. If I just, this is downtown core Mission where all the shops and malls are. So please help me. 69 days on market averaged. No sales in January. You got one sale in February for 1.5 million. Right? Days on market, quite a few days, 128 days. Ooh. March. So not much has changed from this year to try and alter to let us know what the data is doing. But if you're looking at last year, you can expect to pay, $1,330,000 in this area. But that is Mission, neighborhood dad. So I will be doing this next week for Abbotsford as well, because again, that's a market that I serve. But I live in Mission, so I want to do this one first, get it out of the way, and just fine tune it. So I'll be working on that. But I kind of want to shift gears to some multi-family stuff, which I'm more passionate about. House hacking, as I would call it. Didn't coin the term, but definitely a huge advocate for it. And so, what is house hacking for those who may not know the term? The way I see it is it's finding ways to reduce or completely eliminate your mortgage. And that could be via renting, that could be via buying, that could be multiple ways, because in reality, your biggest expense, or anyone's biggest expense, is going to be the housing cost. And so if you're renting, how do you go about that? Well, you could basically, instead of renting a 1-bedroom, you could rent a 2-bedroom and split the cost, split the Amazon, split the Shaw, split the utilities, split the, and maybe rent an entire house. It's something that I did before I bought my place. Is there was this double wide, we called it, and there was this mobile trailer that had it was double wide, and there's 3 rooms in it, and me and a couple buddies, we just shared it, right? And even before that, I was living in Langley, renting a room, because I moved down here in 2012, and just rented a room off of now my cousin's husband, but at the time I didn't know that was going to happen, but just rented a room, saved a bunch of money, then lived in Abbotsford with another bunch of buddies. We basically split the cost of everything. And then after that, managed to save up enough money to buy my own place and do that exact same thing, but now I own it. And so if you're renting, that's the idea, it's how do I eliminate or reduce? If you're renting, realistically, you're probably going to be able to reduce your living or housing expenses by doing that. You're not gonna be able to eliminate it completely, unless there is an option where you could rent an entire house and then sublet all the rooms to buddies or friends, and so that way your cost is essentially covered. But if you're buying, or if you own a place, that could look, as far as house hacking, that could look like you renting out the basement suite, which isn't, again, not revolutionary. It's been around for a long time. Or renting out a room and the basement suite, or you buy together with somebody else so you can share in that cost of home ownership, or maybe your parents help you with a down payment from the equity from their home. So there's a lot of different ways. And so I just want to showcase what's possible. So I built this calculator a while back, and I'm going to be building out a couple more tabs here, just depending on what scenario this is. But this scenario here, so I basically made a follow along here. So figure out, overarching theme, parents own a house, you as the adult kids, maybe you have some kids of your own, you are renting, and I'm trying to figure out what is the cost difference between you and your parents owning, your parents owning and then you renting. How much does that cost monthly? Then compare that to owning a multifamily home. And it could be a basement suite, it could be, a coach house, it could be multiple different things. And so what does that look like typically? So I want to break down the numbers. And so if you want the spreadsheet, just let me know, I'll send it to you. But the first thing is to figure out how much your parents are paying each month for their home by filling in the fillable sections in the detail below: mortgage, house expenses, rental income. And so I've tried to make it idiot proof. So fillable, you got to fill in that, and then do not touch, because these are calculations. calculations. And so, you know, in Mission right now, what we're looking at, there was like a million, I think it was $1,050,000, right? $1,050,000. If they were to sell their house, because again, we need to figure out how much. Well, this is actually for figuring out some other stuff, but we need to figure out how much that house. So I just want to make it really, what's the word I'm looking for? So let's actually take a house that's actually recently sold. I think that'd be the best bet, actually. Because I think that's going to be the most accurate. So let's just go over to Mission Core, right? And for those who don't know where that is, that's right here, Mission Core. We're going to take a home at Mission Core that just sold in March, right? So this one here, $1 million. Depends what kind of house that is. How about we just take the medium, right? 98,000 or 980. Sorry, words are hard right now. So 980. Right? I don't know how much you're going to own, like your parents. So how much do your parents owe left on the house? That's a good question to ask, right? So let's just say they still owe $280,000, right? They probably lived in the house for 20 years. They probably built a lot of equity. This is not unrealistic for them to have that. And so the next thing you want to do is pull up a mortgage calculator, or just ask your parents, right? Like that's going to be the best bet, but obviously I don't know. I don't know what your parents have for a mortgage. And if they've locked in a while ago, then they may have a better rate. But an interesting stat too is that majority of mortgage renewals are going to be happening in 2026 and 2027. There's a graph, I've shared it somewhere. So you're most likely going to be having to renew their mortgage here soon anyways. So $280,000. Wow, okay. Got way too many tabs open. 280,000. It's hard to say what kind of percentage rate they're going to have. And they probably are like, these are a lot of assumptions I'm making here. It's hard to say if that's going to be the price. 280,000, 459, 15 years left. It's probably less. I think it's going to be around there. Again, talk to your parents, see what kind of mortgage they're having. That's going to be the best number, but I'm just trying to be the most accurate and fair here. So $2,900. Okay, so insurance. Now I've plugged in these numbers previously, so I'm just going to more or less leave them here because I live in Mission. I actually live in the Mission Core. So I would say I have a pretty good idea of what this is going to cost you. Property tax, yeah, those all look. So that's going to be your monthly cost. Again, you don't have any income being produced by the suites right now. So your parents, because their parents are living by themselves, they have a basement, but there's no suite in it. The kids that are renting, now a three bedroom, and again, to try be the most fairest of fair. Facebook Marketplace, I love it and I hate it. Okay, don't do that. Property rentals. But you can expect like $2,000 to $3,000 kind of thing. 3 bedroom. All right, so we got $3,200 for a 4-bed, $1,500. That's a steal. Must be something going on with that one. 3-bed, $2,600, $2,800, $1,700. Interesting. $2,400, $2,500, $2,800. There's a couple lower ones, but I don't know. Let's say like 2,400 bucks. It's probably going to be the best. 2,300 bucks. So again, you may be paying utility towards it. Maybe you have content insurance. These are all assumptions I'm making. But so you've talked to your parents. You figured out how much they're paying, right? In this situation, they're paying 3,600 bucks, roughly, right, with the mortgage. And then this is the annual cost right here. I kind of forgot my screen's in the way. Sorry I guess my head's right here. So I gotta make sure. So this is the number right here. 3,600 bucks is your $3,643 is what your parents are paying based on this scenario. So again, talk to your parents, figure out how much mortgage you're paying, then figure out the expenses, annual expenses, get it divided by 12. This will add both of those together, right? It's gonna add this one and this one. And then you got to figure out how much you're paying in rent right now. So for a 3-bedroom, 2-bath in Mission, 2,300 bucks, it ends about 2,500 bucks. So collectively, both your parents and you are paying $6,181 a month collectively, right? So this is where the multifamily home comes in. So this whole thing premise is to figure out how much you're paying, how much you'd be saving if buying a multifamily home. So the next thing is to do is go find a multifamily home that's got a suite of some sort. And so if you're ever curious on like trying to find homes that have a suite or homes that have 2 suites or home that has a coach house or even a duplex, you can go to realtor.ca. It's a little more tricky to try and navigate that. So I've, selfless plug here. I have a website that I've created. It's called househacking.ca. And I'll show you here once I log back in. It's got properties, it's got quick searches, but the main thing that I enjoy is you can search the entire Fraser Valley for homes with suites. You can search the entire Fraser Valley with homes with 2 suites, houses with coach homes or multiplex. The one thing I will say, as far as the search criteria goes, homes with 2 suites, you might find homes that have 3 kitchens, but one of the kitchens is a spice kitchen, so it's not truly a 2-suite. So just be aware of that when you're looking there. I've tried countless times to try and fix this, but it's just the easiest way to leave it. So, and you can search by area as well. So depending what area you're looking in, so we're in Mission. And so the goal here is let's go and find a house with 2 suites. And so all these houses have 3 kitchens. 3 kitchens. And so you want to sort by recent. Badger. Let's just see. Custom, well-maintained home, quiet office. Oh, yeah. So this is in. All right. Let's look at this house here. It's not bad. Three stories. So let's just run the numbers on this one. Help me. There you go. Getting a high five there from Joyce. Thanks, Joyce. All right, so let's run some numbers on this one. The best way to do this is to grab this. So, what's the list price? 1.6. Let's just see here. So we know we can get around 3% off of the list price. Which equates to that. Now they're gonna have 700,000 in equity. So you need 800,000. We'll see how this is going to turn out. I actually don't know how it's going to work here. Let's see here. 852,000. 852,000. $25-year. Now I have seen how do I? Interesting. Why can't I do that? Having difficulties. Nothing new. Why won't you? This is confusing. Let's try a different one. It's not working for some reason. No, it's just not going to be good either. We'll just stick with it. I know you can get a cheaper rate than the 4.59, but we'll just use it. Okay, so we got 4,000, 25 years. It changes on me. It does, okay. Just making sure it's working. $4,578. 4,000. What did we say? 4,000? Wow. $4,758. That was in 2009. Property taxes last year. Insurance. Probably going to be using more water. And these are all assumptions. Electricity. Because with this house have 2-bedroom suite, so say your parents live downstairs, 1-bedroom suite, you rent that out. You're not going to get, probably going to not really get 1,600. $1,000. So this is what we're trying to figure out here. You're gonna be paying $4 grand, $4,700 a mortgage, $1,000 a month in expenses. Now it's not, sorry, this is not factoring in maintenance expenses. There should be like another, maintenance expense here. But the house is newer, so chances are you're not gonna have too many expenses. And then that 1-bedroom suite downstairs, fetching $1,250. Right, so it's got 8 bedrooms, so 3 of them are used up already for the suite. So 2 of them downstairs, and then 1 downstairs as well. So you have another 5 bedrooms. So your entire family could live in here. So let's say you're the one. Let's say you're the adult kids with growing family. You got your older parents that don't need all the space. Now I'm not saying this is the house or this is the option. That might be for you. But it just kind of shows you what's possible. So, and the other one, you guys are paying $6,181 a month collectively. And then this one, monthly result is $4,559. So every month you are saving $1,600. And that could go towards whatever you want. It's 20 grand at the end of the year. Quite a bit of money. Now this is just one example. There's more houses on here. So, let's say this house didn't fancy you, let's say. I'm actually curious on this one though. It's pretty nice. Does it have, how many suites does it have? All about those suites. Suites. 3 kitchens. This probably has a spice kitchen, so it's probably only like 2 living areas. Anyways, all that to say, go look on this website, go to househacking.ca. You can search by area or by type of multifamily house, whatever you want, a house with just 1 suite, a house with 2 suites, or a house with a coach house, or a house duplex or triplex or a 4plex. And so I looked at this house last week. It's nice. It's got a 1-bedroom suite downstairs and a coach house in the back. And it's for quite a bit cheaper too. So if you were to change, these numbers according to that house, you could be way ahead. But I don't know, poke around on there. Or if you want a multiplex, how many multiplexes there are? Not too many. Not too many. Anyways, almost at the top of the hour here. I'm gonna be shutting down the stream here shortly. But yeah, basically next week we're gonna be talking about the same thing. What's going on in each of the neighborhoods, as well as Abbotsford. So I'm gonna be building out this exact same for Abbotsford. So depending where you live in Abbotsford, you'll know how long a home has, or how long a home sells, or how long does it take to sell a home on the market. What the average price point is per area. Because again, just to say, West Abbotsford is this. It's like, well, no, it's like there's neighborhoods within West Abbotsford, or there's neighborhoods within East Abbotsford. And each of those areas have different types of homes and different price points. So we're gonna be breaking it down here on a weekly basis. Again, Mission, Abbotsford as a whole. And then I'm gonna work on making this more prettier. This is just pretty much raw data. A lot of it just bores you, and you're looking at this red, you're like, what is absolutely going on here? But I'm gonna simplify that, make it a little prettier, talking about market stats. And then also, as you know, we're gonna be talking about multifamily living. We're gonna be showcasing properties that I think are worth mentioning. So that will be that on as far as multifamily. And if you want me to do a specific scenario that is for you, I'm more than happy to. Just let me know in the comments or send me a DM as far as what type of scenario would you want me to do when it comes to multifamily. And maybe I'll do a renting scenario. I can do one of those for those who are renting, and I can do a scenario for 2 people who own condos. They want to buy a detached home together. I could do a scenario like that, and just show you what's possible and what's essentially out there. So, and then, if you want this Excel spreadsheet, it's somewhat prettied, but I'm gonna be working on some more tabs here for different scenarios. But if you want it, just let me know. Happy to send it to you. But all that to say, thanks for tuning in. Appreciate it. Appreciate you watching. Appreciate you coming out, seeing what's going on. But again, weekly, gonna be here every Saturday morning, 8 o'clock, talking about the markets that are happening in Mission and Abbotsford and all things multifamily living. So thanks again for tuning in, and I'm gonna end the stream. And T-minus 2 seconds. See ya. Have a great day.